Hi, everybody out there in YouTube land, all you dedicated followers of geology. So, roll call. Hi, Benny. Hi, Woollerman. Hi, Ian. Hi to the other 15, 20 people that are in there. Hi, Mum. Hi, Michael. Hi, Midori. Bob, if you're watching up in Harvey Bay, why not? Anyway, some people have other things to do. I don't. I like Sydney. So, that was the I&I boys again with Conscience Cleaner. I like this. Well, they didn't record garbage. They probably wrote a lot of garbage. They just didn't record it. We've got some more to go. So we'll get a few more out. The total revenue from last week's live stream came to 79 cents. And the morning after the live stream, their record company claimed the entire video and all the stuff. And those boys have now got their 79 cents. So it's a trip and a half on a bus. So he's doing all right, I reckon. Anyway, no one's in this for the money. No one, let me tell you. It's good fun, though. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Can be a little stressful. A bit like music, hey? Anyway, people, so what are we going to talk about this week? Well, we're going to talk about the video I did last week. Reaction from people. Been quite interesting, actually. Hasn't been particularly popular. 1,800 people have viewed it so far. Considering it's a very parochial video about Brisbane, doesn't surprise me too much. Yeah, look, Woollerman, one of the guys I work with every day, they don't perform anymore. They're still mates. They don't hate each other or anything. But they toured Australia and New Zealand. And, you know, three blokes touring, it's a hard life. Hi, Karen. It's a hard life. And they just had enough of it. So that's a fair cop. Still musicians. They've still got some good tunes in them. Anyway, we'll see. But I really enjoy their music. I just do. It's great. Local Brisbane. You notice that film clip was all shot in a valley. I know exactly where some of that was. Not all of it. Some of it. I'm sure if I asked Nick, he'd tell me where the others were. Hi, Will. Good to see you, mate. So, Redland Bay. What's happening in the news of geology, just briefly? Santorini's still there. The earthquake swarm is moving to the north, underneath that volcano, which is already there, the undersea volcano, not in the caldera where Santorini is, but to the north. And they believe that the magma, the tectonic movement, has just caused a weakness. The magma is moving into it. Whether it's going to erupt or not, they don't know. But anyway, you'd want to be probably putting your in Japan. They have pads you can buy down at your local Don Quixote or your little dollar store, 100 yen shop. Silicon pads that you put on your shelf. It stops your stuff shaking off the shelf and falling onto the ground in an earthquake. Can you imagine Australia? It's like a Queenslander. I went to Victoria in 1979 and there was a sign saying briquettes sold here. What the hell is a briquette? I didn't know what a briquette was. It's a little piece of coal you burn. Why would you want to burn coal? I found out. Don't worry. And if any of you have watched Rob's, hey Marty, any of you watched Rob's latest video, burning briquettes, because it looks like it was a bit cool up there. There you go. Very ethereal of Rob, I thought. And yeah, anyway, I hope it's a creative push coming there. What have we got tonight, cup-wise? Well, Tokyo. Starbucks Tokyo. Awesome cup. Lovely cup. Good size too. A bit of hazelnut latte in there. Sugarless, of course. We're not eating sugar. Ooh, no way. So, Conscience Cleaner. Nick and the boys. I hope that audio's not too bad. I've actually sneaked it up a bit. Hi, John. This week, I listened to the playback last week and I thought it could have been a little high still. So, up we went. Just reading the comments there, well done. So the video, last week's video, which was on the Redland Bay to Acacia Ridge to Archerfield basalt formations. Cuchumudlo, I think I could do a whole video on Cuchumudlo. I've had a good look at that. I may do that at some stage. I know Gizmo did one over there at one stage, but he didn't see him deliberately videoing the red cliffs. Otherwise, I pinched it, but I didn't see it. But anyway, I'll have a look at that. Somebody asked me to do a video on Coffee Rock. You know, that sand stone that you get in the sand country, and I think I will, because from what I'm reading, oh hi Alicia, what I'm reading is some of it's quite radioactive, so we'll give that a hit. Why don't you get off my lazy bum? Now it's slightly cooler, a little bit, it's not quite as hot anyway, and get out there and get some spectra off that. One of the problems you have with the little 103s is, I think I mentioned last week, if you want to take a decent spectra off something that's quite weak, it can take 10 hours. So the thing's got to sit there for 10 hours. Now you've got to put up a little tent, sit there, make a coffee, take some sandwiches with you, because you're going to be there for quite some time. But I think it'll be interesting, Coffee Rock. And I also had a look at because someone asked me a question last week about the colours of sand. And of course, sand comes in every colour you can imagine on the planet. And you can buy it in kits, natural, I don't know, maybe. Natural sand, different colours. We're doing sand paintings and drawings and stuff. But anyone here who's been to the coloured sands up the coast, there's everything from purple to green. There's all sorts of colours in that sand. And I suspect the pigments are not what you think. Sorry, hi Kimmy. You'd think that green's probably copper or something. I don't think it is. I think it's a little trickier than that. So I might have a look at that. So the video I'm working on at the moment is on tungsten. And I chose it because, hey Davo, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. I chose it because I love that metal. I've worked with it in my life, previous career in the military, quite a bit. Very tricky metal to work with, and it's almost nowadays always worked with. You don't see a lot of tungsten metal. You see a lot of tungsten carbide. It's tungsten metal in TIG welding and TIG elements, but you don't see a lot of it outside very special uses, which I will cover in the video, but I'll mention some of it tonight because it's interesting. And politically, tungsten is a hot topic, a really hot topic. Australia made a major cock up with its tungsten. I'll cover that a little. So shirt tonight before we move on. My lovely wife bought me this. I might have shown it to you before. This old. Needs an 8-track, but apart from that, it's perfect. I love it. Anyway. So the video from last week, wonderful feedback from people living in that area and talking about what they went through in the early days of Redland Bay before it was developed as it is now. And Mike in Tokyo lived out that way on a property, as a lot of people did. But certainly the well water coming up with leaving red stains in the bathtubs, people getting red stains on their feet. I have a friend who owned he worked on his family banana farm up at Mulgilgie in central Queensland. That was a decomposed basalt red soil farming area on a plateau. And he said it took years for the staining to come out of his feet when he moved finally down to, in fact, Rockhampton. And it took years for it to come out of his feet. So it certainly happens. Oh, Benny, I've got a lot of VHS tape somewhere. There's a pallet, I think, stuck in the warehouse at work, just out of the way, with "Don't pinch, belong me," and it's full of VHS. But I think they're all buggered. I think they're too old. Warrant officer, sheet metal worker, eh? We might have done some business together, Kenny. I spent some time at Emily. But, yeah. I used to go and use their Hydrobend all the time. They're the only ones that had one, yeah. Hi, Anders. 78 RPM shellac. Yeah, it probably does. It's just black. You can't see it, Anders. Sorry. Could be. Yeah, I converted a bunch of 78s for one of my pseudo-uncles about a long time ago to audiophiles. He boxed these things, and he had a player. So I pinched the audio out of it, stuck it through a computer, and I converted quite a few of them, not them all, because some of them were buggered, to electronic files for him. I think I burned them to CD in those days, so you could have them on CD. Certainly lasts longer than he did. That's the way it is. So certainly, I'm just trying to think what we call sheet metal workers. At the top of my head, I can't remember. In the Air Force, I'm trying to think of it. It wasn't sheet metal work, I'll tell you that. It certainly wasn't. Anyway. Yeah, well, tungsten and titanium, man. You want to make a show, you put on titanium. That's the stuff. But anyway, we inherited 78s. Well, and it's good. You'll have trouble playing them. You really will. You'll have to slow something down. Yeah, magnesium will give you a big fire. If Michael's watching in Japan, Michael had a Volkswagen. He had a Combi, old Combi, and it was a long time ago, and it was old. If you know Combis, they were made out of a wonderful metal. The engines were made out of a very high magnesium alloy, more magnesium than aluminium. So if you got these things hot, really hot, the engine just became a 50-kilo road flare and destroyed everything, including the car. Hey, good to see you, Liam. Good to see you, man. Watched your video. If you haven't watched Liam's video, guys, you got to, about the amusement parks of this series, actually, Southeast Queensland. I thought I might have mentioned it to you, Liam. I don't know, probably an email or something. Somewhere there's a photo of a 5-year-old me holding up a fish for a porpoise, dolphin, at the Jack Evans porpoise pool. Somewhere, probably, I would say about 65, so it's probably down the Tweed Heads, I would think. But anyway, I digress. It's in black and white. I remember that. I haven't seen it for years. Yeah. Well, so anyway, video. Lots of great stories from down there. Got contacted by a man who lives near the quarry down there and gave me a a chemical survey they had done of the rock in the quarry down in Mount Cotton, actually. A lot of locals were a bit up in arms when they were expanding that quarry. So they took the quarry and they pretty much doubled its size straight into protected koala habitat. Now, I love stone, let's be real here, and I love rock, and we need rock. There's no question of that. But all the rock you get out of that is not worth the genetics contained in one koala. And they just mashed all it down. Would they kill koalas? I don't know. The habitat's a little bit endangered. We probably shouldn't be doing. Like there isn't crap loads of stone everywhere else that they could have just gone and got. No, it's just too easy. You already got the hole, already got the trucks. Yeah, I think, sorry, Liam, I'll repeat myself. I do that quite a bit now. I think it's going to get worse before it's never going to get better. So anyway, lots of great stories coming from that area. I mentioned that report because in the assay, the uranium was really high. I mean, really high. Uranium is about 3 parts per million, 4 parts per million on average around the place. And there are bits where it's higher and lower and whatever. This was 10 parts per million. So it was actually on the higher end of what you would call normal. It's not dangerous. It's not going to hurt anybody. But yeah, it is a little high. Hi, Kylie. Good to see you. Well, I can't see you. You can see me. So yeah, that's the video on the weekend. People seem to like it. No real negative feedback from it. I finished it up a bit quick in the end. It was getting too long, and I was just, the Archerfield thing, the granite down there, that Carr's Quarry, there is just no photographics. You would think that one photo I found of Carr's Quarry, which is 100 years old, I had to do a whole lot of shenanigans to get that to the point where you could even see it. And it still looks like garbage. Fortunately, John from Gel Builder very kindly let me use a bit of his video. He shot it when the water was quite a lot lower. I can't go down and shoot, the water's too high at the moment. But he shot it, and it looked really good. And he just incidentally, I think, got a beautiful shot of the basalt. So it worked out rather well, actually. Oh, Berlin subway station, well done. I've not been to Berlin, Liam. I've been to Hanover, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Bremen. You know, the side I went up. Then over into Holland, down through Belgium, west of France, east of France, and then to Austria, Österreich. Back in the days when, just before they went to euros, show my age there, and there was like French francs, Belgian francs, and Swiss francs. and they're all called francs, and they're all worth different amounts. Just spin your head out. It's crazy. Just crazy. Hey Nev, no, you haven't missed much. Just me dribbling, as usual. Nothing much. Talking about the video on the weekend. So, what's happening in the world regarding rocks? Well, we talked about Santorini briefly. Not much has changed there. There is something happening in Africa. There are 2 volcanoes in Africa, in Ethiopia, and there is a rift forming between these volcanoes. There is uplift. I'm talking 26 feet. American, obviously, feet of uplift in some places. So we'll keep an eye on that. If anything happens, it's actually worth seeing. Well, it could be quite nasty. It's not like the Ethiopians haven't done it hard. Now their whole country's going to sort of break in half. Crazy. Crazy stuff. So tungsten. I don't know if you had much to do with tungsten. It's called a refractory metal. And refractory metals are just metals that have really high melting points. And tungsten is 3,000 degrees. It's a really high melting point. Yeah, it's a very strategic metal. The 21st century doesn't happen without tungsten. At all. Nothing. No welding. I tell you, no welding. TIG welding isn't everything. Yeah, there's a lot of MIG welding out there. There's still a lot of TIG welding and robotic TIG welding. There is a lot of it. You're not going to have any semiconductors because tungsten is a catalyst used in the manufacture of a lot of the, you hear of gallium arsenide and all these others. There's a lot of tungsten used in the manufacture of that. So forget your semiconductors, no tungsten. Let's have a look at little things like going down the pub, throwing down a few darts. Well, everyone knows the good darts are made out of tungsten. Swinging a golf club. Well, quite a few of the good irons are made out of tungsten. And fishing lures now, which you'll see tonight. Actually, I've got a video, I've got a photo for you. Making fishing lures out of tungsten because they're heavy, very heavy metal. It's nearly twice as heavy as steel for the same volume. It's very dense. And it's a really nice metal, somewhat corrosion resistant. If you alloy it with steel, it's amazing. If you press it into a powder with carbon and then heat the crap out of it and put some secret herb as a spice, you get tungsten carbide. And as any of you people who use tools know, tungsten carbide is the shit. It's what you want. It's amazing. It's nearly as hard as diamond. Not quite, but nearly as hard as diamond. It's a lot harder than tungsten by itself. Made accidentally, I might add. I think I might cover that in my video. And also one thing that us oldies would remember is every light bulb you have ever seen in your life that had a filament in it, that filament was tungsten, covered with some secret herbs and spices to make it last longer. Pig's ass. To make it not last longer is probably the correct answer, but that's a whole new video. Anyway, it's Warwick and the Goldfields, Kylie. Pine Rivers. I've done some Pine Rivers. Warwick and the Goldfields. Yeah, maybe. The trouble with the goldfields up around Warwick is they're so well trodden. If you look online, there is so much stuff on them. So, yeah, I'd have to think of a special angle that I could come in at and have a look at it. Yeah, Warwick's lovely. It really is. My uncle lives up there somewhere, or used to. Getting a bit old now. He'd probably, well, I don't know. He'd have to be gone. I don't know. He raised chickens. I know that. Anyway. I had my first engine failure on an aeroplane at the Warwick Airfield on my PPT test. Instructor, in we went, coming out at the other side, just no engine. Where are you going to land? I said, that'll do. Cornfield. He said, that'll do. Gave me the engine back. No problem there at all. Really? I don't like that. So we've listened to Nick, Conscience Cleaner, those that showed up late. You'll catch him at the end. It's easy enough. So let's have a look at some other stuff about, I suppose, tungsten. We talked about the filament, light bulb filaments. They're all made out of tungsten. Ish. Now they're LEDs, of course. Tungsten bulb is reasonably efficient because it does last, if it's built properly, it'll last a very long time. Run the voltage down less than it should be. If they rate at 240, you run that to 180 volts, that thing will last 100 years. No LED's going to last 100 years, I guarantee you that. I think we would sell a pup on LEDs. They are very efficient, and I like the light that comes out of them. But as far as lasting a long time, pig's ass. They just don't. They just don't. So that's light bulb filament's not like it. I thought I'd have to have a picture because I thought a lot of people watching this won't remember what a light bulb filament looks like. So here we go. Tungsten. 74 in the periodic table. I promise no periodic tables. It doesn't serve any purpose for what we're doing here. Gorgeous metal. That powder that's sitting in is the tungsten powder they use to make tungsten carbide out of. So yeah, that's just a lovely image. That's definitely going to be, I like it a lot. This is a mineral called scheelite, and the blue stuff that's shining is tungsten carbonate. And this is one of the main ores, not the only one, that tungsten is mined in. And in Australia, there is a place that gets scheelite. Other places don't, some do. But it fluoresces under ultraviolet light, as you can see. This is called wolframite. This is another form of tungsten ore. This is not in limestone, this is in quartz granite matrix. The black stuff is the wolframite, and it is very high in tungsten. Very, very high in tungsten. And we also get this in Australia. In fact, we get this in Queensland. This is a mine. This is a hole in the ground. And this is a hole in the ground in a really beautiful place called King Island. Sorry, I'm just looking down the chats. Hey, Bushy. Bushy. Kiss my. It's a Freudian slip. Guess what? I used to look at a guy called Bushy. Sorry. Hi, guess. Good to see you. What have we got going on there? Yeah, they do have a gas in them. It's called argon. Argon is the gas in light bulbs generally. It can be any inert gas, but it can't be nitrogen because it stuffs up the filament. There's also some secret herbs and spices sprayed on the filament or deposited on the filament to make it last longer. Sure, whatever. You've all heard about the Great Light Bulb Conspiracy. We don't need to go into it here. Does it have radiation? Yeah, the tungsten minerals do not have radiation. No, they're not radioactive. But everything's radioactive. See the video, but yeah, everything's radioactive. They're not particularly radioactive. They're quite old, so that if there were any radioactive isotopes, they would have half-lifed out, pretty much. They give off radiation when you heat them up, though. Infrared radiation. That's for sure. This is in King Island, in Bass Strait. This is an old photo. This mine has this. I'll tell you the story of this mine. This was discovered a long time ago in the 1800s. This scheelite deposit here in limestone, and it was mined underground. There is a mine portal. Let's get the fickle finger of fate out. Oh, look who's here. It's the noise machine has arrived. The fickle finger of fate, that's the portal there to the old mine. And the old mine is no longer there. This is an old photo. The mine has been, we have the cat. It has shown up. Hang on a minute. I'll talk to you in a sec. So this is the portal. The mine used to go out under the ocean. Since then, they have redeveloped this into, and you'll see the pictures of it, video, into an all uncut mine. And it shut down. This mine shut down in the 1970s because the Chinese flooded the world's market with cheap tungsten. China, as you'll see in a few minutes, has a great deal of tungsten. And they thought, gee, what if we sold it really cheap? That'll make all these other mines unviable and they'll all close and then we can put the price up. Who'd have thought? And that's exactly what they did. And we closed nearly all of our tungsten mines in Australia in the 1970s and 80s because, the Chinese stuff's so much cheaper. It's not a strategic metal. We don't need it. Anyway. Yeah, where's the cat? Hey, Puss. Hang on a sec, guys. Now, I've got to tell you, there's a ball patch on my chair because this is a shitty $400 chair from Officeworks that all the leatherette is falling off. Now, my mother wants me to cover it up, but guess what? I leave it that way to remind me never to buy anything off. Bastards, again. Anyway. What's happening?
What?
She's onto us. She's onto us. Run away, run away. She'll come back. She wants feeding. So, tungsten mine, King Island. If you haven't been to King Island, if you ever get the chance to go there, it is absolutely glorious. both King and Flinders Island. I've been to both, just with the Air Force, just landing there and taking off again and flying over them. Great dairy, King Island dairy. You see all the cheese in the shops from King Island. That little town up there, by the way, is called Grassy. Grassy doesn't look particularly grassy to me, but anyway, I'd say the town was there before the mine. Maybe not. I don't know the answer to that. Should look that up. So anyhow, that's on King Island, and it's a scheelite mine. Local politician got behind, got him a grant to get it reopened again when the Chinese janked the price of tungsten up. And we'll talk more about that when we get to the China map. This is another mine. This could be any open cut mine. This could be Mary Kathleen, anything. You know, a great big terraced piece of mountainside with some weird coloured water in it. This is actually at Mount Carbide. This has also been reworked. That's reopened. First of all, they started reworking the tailings pile from the old tungsten people, left half the tungsten behind, they didn't have the techniques. And now they are remining it. And this is a wolframite deposit. So in Mount Carbide, which is up behind Port Douglas. There's also another deposit lower down, sort of behind Cairns. They're being mined by the same company. So yeah, they'll just transport it up, and the plant that they built for this, they'll treat it there. I don't think they're making metal, of course. They're just making tungsten concentrates. I wonder who they're going to sell those to, eh? Chinese, I would think. But it's the way it is. This is another tungsten mine. This is on an island in North Queensland. There were two tungsten mines on island. This is on a place called Noble Island, very small island. And they found a tungsten deposit on it, and they mined it. They also found gold, and they found something else too. Tin, I think. Tin. And this is the abandoned tunnel on Noble Island, very small island. You'll see it in the videos flow through on there. And just nothing, just a speck in there. How do these people find this stuff? So clever. Old timers, no technology, just brains and observation. I love it. A map of Australia and where our tungsten deposits are. Sorry about the cut bleed through there. What's going on there? It's pretty weird. I think I must have bumped a line. Bring the line around a bit. No, doesn't like it. It's over there. It's the wrong light. Doesn't matter. It's all right. There's nothing under there. It's important. So what we've got is our dolphin deposit in King Island, in Bass Strait. There's a few more in Tasmania. I'm doing a little bit of research on those. I think they might be all closed at the moment. Little tungsten deposits all through Australia. Mount Carbide, the watershed in Mount Carbide up here in North. The islands are up here, but they're not mentioned because they're well closed and they're not opening again. West Australia has huge tungsten reserves, and they're producing quite a lot of tungsten. Northern Territory's opening up now, and there's other prospects out there going on. So we have a great future in tungsten, as long as it's managed properly, and we don't try and make all the money this month and then send the whole thing broke next month, write all the losses off against tax, then open it again and go through that cycle, because that never happens. Never happens. So Australia's got a fairly good chunk of the world's tungsten reserves, just not doing anything with it. Guess who has got all the tungsten reserves in the world, and I mean a lot, is China, of course. And they are exploiting it. They're producing it. They're producing it from the dirt through to the metal, through to the tungsten carbide in particular. I think anyone who does any work with tools here knows how cheap Chinese tungsten carbide is, and actually it's pretty damn good for the money. Is it the best in the world? No, it isn't. It doesn't need to be. If you've got a router at home and you just, bunging a few door hinges on every now and then, you don't need professional class tungsten carbide. You really don't. I've got some tungsten carbide burrs, which I'll show you some pictures of in a bit. They're fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. They're cheap as chips. So yeah, tungsten carbide, when I was in the Air Force, you had to sign it out and sign it back when you were finished. They really kept an eye on that. Sorry, just catching up. We'll catch the kitty in a sec. She's sitting there glaring at me. She wants to be fed. I don't want to trick her with food. If we have to, we have to. Tungsten carbide burrs. You can get a set of these for like $20. And They are absolutely fantastic. They will cut through anything except tungsten carbide, of course. Great for working in masonry. Run holes in bricks with these things. They're that tough. Absolutely amazing. And of course, military. Now, if you want to go through armour plate, you need a tungsten core in your bullet. And this is tungsten here, and this is tungsten carbide here. This is going to make some serious damage. It just will. Obviously, you can't make the bullet out of tungsten because it'll tear the barrel of the weapon to pieces. The sheath in this case is brass, but quite often they're copper. And these things will do a lot of damage, and they'll go through bulletproof vests. It turns them into not bulletproof vests. Kevlar helmets become just helmets, and on it goes. So this is nasty stuff. Fortunately, it's quite heavy, quite expensive, and it's not generally used. But if there's a special job to be done, they will do it. The military, budgets don't mean much for them. Tungsten's not particularly expensive anyway, but we'll talk about that soon. And if you want to knock a hole in a tank through, let's go 600 mils of armour plate steel, well, you need one of these. And this is tungsten. Tungsten here. This penetrator can be tungsten or it can be depleted uranium. Depleted uranium is quite a bit heavier than tungsten. Depleted uranium is about 92, I think, 90. And this is 74. So it's quite a lot heavier atomic weight. And the tungsten slug at the beginning here. And this is a sabot just to get it out of the barrel with the fins on it. Nasty, nasty stuff. You don't want to be receiving any of this modern weaponry. You just don't. And of course, fishing lures. Of course you're going to make fishing lures. These are tungsten fishing lures because they're very heavy. You can throw them a long way. Do you really throw a long way anymore? Don't you just get a drone to drop it out there on the fishing? Don't know. I stopped fishing years ago. Sorry, just reading down. Yeah, you're right. Doesn't eat out of tins. Oh, no, not this cat. No, this cat's... oh, hi, Mitchell. Let's have a look. No, she's racked off. I think she heard someone shake something in. Cogley wrote a little while... Sorry, I didn't see that come through, about Lake Koowanbar. Spent quite a bit of time at Lake Koowanbar when I was teenager, but the old Northern Road went right through Lake Koowanbar. Did a video on Old Northern Road, but I stopped on the other side of Drapers Crossing at the Spitfire Memorial there. It's not really a Spitfire Memorial, but the memorial to the airmen who died there. Because the next bit required me to bush track through. Well, you can't do Lake Koowanbar without a submarine because it goes across the bottom of it, and then where it comes out on the other side, it's all private property, almost right through to Narangba. So I couldn't really... See you, Liam. Hope to see you back soon, mate. We'll catch up for a beer when you get back. Great fun. So yeah, I think that just became a little hard for me in summer. So I do want to finish the Old Northern Road video right through to Woodford, which is where it finishes. But yeah, I think that didn't... I haven't revisited it actually. Not many people watched it. I thought it'd be quite popular. I liked it. Yeah, that's me. I'm a bit weird. So fishing lures made out of tungsten, of course. And there's a few other things made out of tungsten. Like, this is what those sabots look like when they come out of a weapon, a tank barrel. There's the tungsten dart. There's the sabots that deployed. And when they hit the armour plate, they burn straight through it. That was a foot, 300 mils of armour plate. That was tick. And this is also tungsten. I'm not saying you need tungsten to do this, but that's 180. I'll throw one of those, like 1, 2 maybe. Not all that useful, but you can win games with them. I'll run that through again, seeing TIG welding. Yeah, so I think that the probably the most common use of tungsten on Earth was this. I can't even think how many hundreds of millions of light bulbs we produced over the last 150 years. Edison didn't invent the tungsten film, by the way. He invented a carbon film, which was shit. I'm a big fan of Edison. Sounds like a bit of a wanker to me. Yeah, the famous cat. I noticed in Rob's video he's got 2 new cats. Must have come with the house, because he couldn't have brought them, taken to England from here, I wouldn't think. So if he did, you can't bring them back, that's for sure. So yeah, I noticed he had 2 cats in his video. Black one and a, I don't know what the other one's called. Anyway, that's the way they are. So that's the filament. I think tungsten, one of the reasons I said I'd talk about that, when we put China up on the, where was it? No, somewhere down here. Australia. There's China. The reason I'm going to be talking about is China's just decided that it's going to stop selling tungsten to the United States. Over. None. They'll sell tungsten carbide products and they will sell tungsten manufactured products, but they will not sell tungsten to the United States. Well, you know, the United States is just a little bit weapony. And tungsten is used in everything. I mean, everything in the military. It just is. Either to make it, to glue it together and weld it, or whatever. Just hang on a sec. Hey, Lorna, can you bring the cat here for a sec? She ran away. Please. Hello? No, no one there. There was. They're gone. See if we can get you the cat. Hang on 2 seconds. Let me kill Mike for a sec. Right. I've ordered a cat. See if one turns up. Here we are, beautiful. I know. It's awaits. Look, I know you're going to get fed. You are. Trust me, you are. Going to get fed right now. What we got to do is you got to look at the camera. People like it when you look at the camera. I like it when you look at the camera. Oh, she's heard the tucker back. Are you all right? You okay? Are you sure? Yeah? You all right? You know you're okay when you're with me. Now, you're going to say hello to your fans? Hey? Look at that. There we are. All right, I know you don't like being picked up. I know. Come on, down you get here. There we go. That is Mika, for those who don't know. She's an awesome cat, but she has a mind of her own, as do all cats. People say, is that your cat? I said, no, I'm her human. That's how it works. She knows who she likes and who she doesn't like. So China has decided to stop selling tungsten to the United States, and they have 80% of the world's production and about 60% of the world's reserves of tungsten. So it's a major problem for the United States. You can't build your shitbox F-35s. You can't build electric Jesus with these little rockets going up in the air, all that sort of stuff. Those turbo pumps, tungsten alloys, all of it is tungsten. High refractory grade metals in the rocket nozzles, and the metals that make up those rocket nozzles are usually steel tungsten alloys. I'm sure the cyber-urinal thing he tries to sell, that truck, is also probably has tungsten in that stainless steel as part of its formulation. So there's some real issues going on. They've kicked the hornet's nest, there's no question of that. But on the upside, it means all of a sudden these dopey governments are going, so we should have a tungsten industry here. Oh, what a good idea. Now, none of the mines in Australia produce metal. Zero. They produce concentrates, which they sell to somebody else who makes the really expensive thing. Does it have a familiar ring to it? And then sell it back to us at huge value add. So it was nice to see them save that steelworks in Walhalla. I don't know the politics of that steelworks, but we need steelworks in Australia. I was shocked to hear the Americans were going to put a tariff on Australian steel. We sell steel to America. Really? We can barely make enough for ourselves. How are we selling it overseas? I got a mate of mine who runs a profile cutting business at Wacol. He buys all of his steel in Korea. And I said, why don't you buy in Australia? He said, no, it's too expensive. No one will touch it. They just want steel. This grade, this price. So it's all about money, all about the ching-ching. So we run $1 billion over budget on $1 billion program. The price of the steel's too high. Not completely buying that for sure. There's some stuff going on, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, I do know what it is. It's the what did they say? Oh, it's the $10 billion overrun on the Cross River Rail is because of the CFMEU. Oh, really? Really? Huh. I mean, I'm no fan of the CFMEU, but even I cannot swallow that. What a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. It's shit management's what it is. Not one Australian worker ever sent their job to China. Zero. Never happened. Ipswich people in this chat, remember the Stubbies factory down at, where was that? Was that Bundamba? No, further down, way further down. Riverview, something like that. They used to make stubbies, as in the clothes, the pants for men to work with. They were fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Bangladesh. After that, clothes were shit, no one bought them, they went broke. Oh, great idea. Who thought of that? Well, it wasn't the workers that thought of it. You guys will probably remember the big Triumph underwear factory in Ipswich, at the top of Ipswich there in Limestone Street. It was huge. I can still, Dinmore, thank you, Dinmore, you were I remember the women coming out of there in the afternoons. When I worked in the Air Force Base, it was still operating. When the shift changed, all these, mainly women working, they'd come out and they'd be going downtown buying groceries, gone. Because, you know, you're selling a bra to a woman for $200. Well, you're going to make it in Bangladesh for $1.50 and make the $190 here. I think Kiwi Triumph, it's just travesties. That's just one example. Ipswich was an absolute boiling pot of engineering works for agricultural support, industrial support, mining support. Yeah, and all gone, along with the jobs. You hear a lot of politicians say, and they're talking, oh, you know, we want to make something great again. I won't use the numbers, the words. Again tends to mean you want to go back to somewhere, because again means over here. Where? It wasn't the workers that did this. It actually wasn't so much the politicians. This was done by greedy people that wanted to make millions of dollars right now, and they saw nothing wrong with it. Look at the housing market. I'm no commie. I'm a bit of a socialist as I get older, I must admit. But the housing market, really? A 4-bedroom house costs $1 million to build at Kedron, does it? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Well, Kimmy, I remember, yeah, the bra factory, Bernie, that was it. I remember, would have been 1980, 79. I don't remember exactly when, riding past on my motorbike coming out of Amberley. And the women all coming out, the shift change or whatever. It was amazing. Next to McMahon's. Wow. I think two of my kids learned to swim there. I think so. I can't remember now. So, which was a long time ago for us. A lifetime ago, in fact. 4 lifetimes ago. All my kids. They're all born in Ipswich. They hate it. They hate it. I love it when they say, oh, can you change you can change your name? You can't change where you were born. Oh, it's Ipswich, Dad. We like to give them heaps. Yeah, look, I ran a business in Ipswich for quite a few years. And, yeah, there were some very wealthy, very good men and women who lived in Ipswich. The jeweller, you know, all those guys. Salt of the earth, lovely people. Did not let their wealth, they got brag about their wealth. They just enjoyed it, shared it amongst their family and their friends. I had no problem with that. But these, I won't name names, but you know, insert in half a dozen of them. You know, private jets to pick up the leader of the opposition to come to your birthday party. Really? And that's a good look, is it? I don't know. Don't look too good to me. And now the other side's just as bad. They really are. It's just annoying. This guy, I won't mention his name, very similar to mine actually, down at Mount Cotton. How the hell did they get through the state government and the Redlands Council a shitload of koala habitat destroyed to expand a quarry? How did that happen? Did, because it's happening. They've done it. I don't get it. One of the things when I was looking into that, one of the things I came across was a wagon. It was an old dray. Had a couple of buffalo bullocks hooked up to it. Stacked about probably 5 metres high, big dray with koala pelts, all shot out of the Mount Cotton forestry. So man, I looked at that and I thought there must have been tens of thousands of koalas in that area because they were shot out. Koalas were shot out all over Australia. But think about how many kilograms of eucalypt leaves does a koala eat a day? Well, eucalypt leaves are not very nutritious. If you want to stay alive, I reckon you've got to eat like every minute you're awake when you're not sleeping off all the chemistry that you got from the eucalypt leaves. They're little stoners, those guys. But I would think they were eating thousands of kilograms of eucalypt leaves a day in the forest, probably tens of thousands of kilograms, which no longer get eaten. I wonder why these bushfires are so severe. Anyway, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Any questions, people, that I've missed in this chat? The chat's been running really hard tonight. I can scroll back. Who'd have thought? I just don't really am. Let's scroll back and have a quick look, see what I've missed. We were talking about Lake Kawamba briefly. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if anyone's ever been over to the Lake Kawamba spillway. It's cut into the rock. It's really interesting. There's some great rock over there to have a look at. So if you're ever over that way, check it out. It's a good thing. Davo, how's the Dalek going? I watched your last couple of videos. Looks fantastic. When my relatives came out from England, and it would have been in the late 70s, something like that, when they first saw a Jack the Slasher store, they just rolled around laughing, because to slash in England is to have a piss. And Jack the Slasher, they're all sitting there taking photos with it in the background, you know. It's absolutely amazing to watch. Just amazing to watch. That's for sure. Well, the Bible, I get the religious people in the comments telling me that I'm evil because, you know, the earth is only 6,000 years old, yada yada. I've whingeed about that before. But my latest one is the Bible condones homosexuality and drug use, because it says, should a man lay with another man, he should be stoned. Okay, sounds like good advice to me. Not my cup of tea, but who am I to judge? Hey, John, the railway workshops were amazing. That was a community in itself. If you'd have told me that a Labor politician would have shut down the Ipswich railway workshops, I'd have called you an idiot. But that's exactly what happened. All those railways in central Queensland, Banana, Barralaba, all up through there, gone. Thank you, Mr. Hamill. Anyway, at least the railway workshops still breathes a little with the museum over there. I really like the railway workshops. Do you remember the little bridge, John, that went across the Bremer, the little footbridge? You take your life in your hand every time you walked across it. They had footbridges across the little creeks and everything, so you go up to North Ipswich, walk around to Brassel through the back there. It was amazing, just amazing. Yeah, Anders, I can't recall. It's been so long since I've been up there. You talk about, we talked about fusion power briefly last week, and I know this is a bit of a distraction, but fusion power reminds me a lot of the Drapers Creek Crossing Bridge. I moved out of Strathpine in 1979. I lived there from 1973 to 1979. And they were talking about the Drapers Crossing Bridge then. Come back many years later, all of a sudden said, we're going to build a bridge across Drapers Crossing. What? Still haven't done it. Yeah, Coldfalls, Kimmy, you're right. Coldfalls. I lived at Saddles Crossing, which I loved. I really loved. Unfortunately, I lived on the west side of it, so I got cooked in the afternoons. A friend of mine lived at Woodend. Much nicer spot. If you like the smell of flying fox shit, of course. Well, I believe they're gone. I don't know. I haven't been up there for a while. A friend of mine used to save the little ones, and she'd look after them, and they'd climb up here. I love little creatures. Then I discovered Hendra-virus. I didn't want to play with them anymore. They worried me a bit, because Hendra-virus only kills young, fit people. So, yeah, I'm safe now. I'll be right. Yeah. It's just, I mean, if you've come from up the north there, Kimmy, you know that Drapers Crossing is a disaster. And it's not technically unbridgeable. We've built bridges across bigger things than that. They just don't want to do it for some reason, because it'll increase the traffic on that road, obviously, dramatically. I don't know why they bother. Just blast through the other side, keep going. I think that might be part of that northern bypass they're all bitching about. Anyway, we'll see. If you look at that road, there is a northern bypass, goes straight to the south, right down through the north side of Brisbane, right down to Bunnings. Is it Bunnings? I've forgotten now. No, it's not Bunnings. It's, what is it? Spotlight, that place, down in there. Anyway, Northern Green Corridor is right up there. It's crazy. Still there, they haven't built on it. Oh, the bats have moved, have they, Benny? There you go. Well, they have wings. They can move anytime they want to. I used to have a lot of arguments about those fruit bats. Some people hated them. They absolutely hated them. So, well, first of all, they're not fruit bats. Any animal that evolved to eat fruit in the Australian countryside would have died out a million years ago. There's no fruit in the Australian countryside normally. It does happen. Julian will give you the numbers, but it's not. They eat blossom. They live on blossom. There's lots of blossom in the Australian countryside. But we went and planted our cities from one end to the other with fruit, specifically bloody mangoes. I wouldn't like to count the mango trees in Ipswich. There must be thousands of them. Nobody eats the damn fruit. So, of course, the bats will find an ecological niche and they'll breed up to suit. You should see them down here at Indooroopilly and Toowong. There's quite a big colony at Toowong down behind the service station. And Indooroopilly, there's a huge colony. And they just fly out. You see them fly out in the afternoons, heading over to West End and heading over to Yeronga and all that places. They're just raiding all the fruit and the flowers. We planted this place. We turned it into a Garden of Eden for them. Really can't complain. Yeah, they're noisy little buggers. We get them here fighting in the when the figs are in fruit. They get in the big fig trees and they fight like, oh man, do they make a racket. Used to do in North Queensland when I was growing up in Cairns. They'd fight out in the mango trees. Their favourite food is a thing called locusts. As many of you guys know what a locust tree is. They're around. They're beautiful to eat if you can ever get one. The flying foxes go into them. Yeah, I like Toowong. I live in St Lucia, but spent a lot of time in Toowong. I have lived in Toowong. I've lived in Taringa. I've lived in Indooroopilly. And one of the things about Brisbane, I should do a video on this. Brisbane is full of microclimates. And the difference between Toowong, Taringa and Indooroopilly from a climate point of view, although you can walk it in 40 minutes, is chalk and cheese. It's amazing. There's microclimates all over Ipswich. There's blast from the past. All over Brisbane. There certainly is. Steve, who's not watching tonight, but he's going to watch this on replay. Steve lives in a microclimate. He lives up to the back of Kenmore. And I went to his place and man, it's beautiful there. It really is. And it's just one of those places that has got it all right. Yeah, I think if you were to move 800 metres down the road, it wouldn't be as nice. Crazy, eh? Oh, there you go. Well, Steve, you should tell, if you haven't told Steve that, tell him, because he put a lot of work into that Mount Cootha bit. He had to do it twice because he had a technical issue with it. Yeah, it happens. I'd like to say I don't have those issues, but that's not true. Steve's made a lot more videos than I have. He's been making videos for a very long time. Very experienced YouTuber. And yeah. Unfortunately, like all of us, anyone who thinks they understand the algorithm is lying, because nobody does. And from what I've heard, YouTube's lost control of it. This algorithm is self-modifying now, and they don't know what it's doing. They have rough ideas, but they really don't know. So you'll see one of those videos. I'll show you some graphs one. I'll do an evening of video analytics on my videos to show you what they do and what the information we get. And it's just nuts what happens. You'll see a video go out. There'll be a few hundred people watch it. That's us, you, me, watching it. Then it'll just go vertical. Just vertical. It will be shown to tens of thousands of people over the next hour. And then half of those will watch it, or 10% of those will watch it. Then it will just go, no, I'm over you. Goodbye, and leave you. It happens. Then you get the occasional one that just keeps on giving, just slowly ramps up, no big steps, and off it. And it just keeps doing that for months. Who knows? I love locust. I really do. All the trees in this suburb, no. And when they're in season, which they are not now, there's one down near the Toowong Shopping Centre, actually. And I've spoken to the man who owns it, and he said I'm free to eat off it any time I like. And I stood in his front yard there one night. He was hosing the lawn. I asked him, excuse me, so would you mind if I took some of your locust? He said, yeah, go for it. I'd forgotten about those. So I was pretty tall. I grabbed 6'4". I grabbed a few high up, brought them down. We had one each. He said, man, I'd forgotten how nice these were. It's amazing, isn't it? Wow. Well, I found a rainbow lorikeet lying on the road one day. I think it had either hit something or it was just completely tired. So she took care of it, took it up to the university, to the vet place. By the time she got there, it was better. I think a lot of them get thirsty. People don't realise birds have to drink a lot and every day at least, and more than once a day. They can't. They're a very small creature underneath all those feathers. They need water or they will die. So peeps, there we go. That's another evening with T-Rock's map of China in the background there. Tungsten. It'll be an interesting video. We're looking at how they refine it, what they do with it, what it's used in, where it's found in Australia, and more importantly, where it's found in Queensland, because it is around. Good stuff, I reckon. So I'm going to leave you with the boys from I&I in. Oh, mango sap, Kimmy, don't remind me. Don't remind me. I grew up in Cairns. You're riding your bike home from school one day, you get a rotten mango in the back of the head from one of your mates hiding behind a bush. Horrible stuff. Oh, the mango sap is doing it to the rainbow lorikeets, is it? I like rainbow lorikeets. Cool and feathered mice. But they are just, around here we get the big trees, the big roosts of them, where there are thousands of them. And I like it after they've gone to sleep. Every now and then you hear one of them fire up and two of them will fire up and tell them to shut up, and then it goes quiet again. Amazing stuff. But boy, don't they make a mess. Okay, see you guys. I'm going to throw up, and I say guys in a very generic term. Please don't think anything of me. I'm just old. I'm going to put the boys back up, and I will see you all probably next week. Until then, keep rocking, because T-Rocks is out.